So my name is Carlos Ventura, and the first question I'll be asked is, what does being first gen mean to me? Well, to give a standard definition, first generation is a first son or daughter who attends college. But what first gen means to me is a different definition. What first gen means to me is, first of all, obtaining new experiences. Because as a first generation student, everything that I learn is going to be new, which unfortunately I'm not able to ask my family or my relatives because they do not have any experience what I'm going through. So in a way, asking for their advice would only help minimum, but at the same way would not guide me. At the same time, being first gen to me, it's going to be a challenge. Everything that I learn is new, and meaning that everything that I learn is going to be passed on. Meaning it is going to be a challenge to attain so much information, because once I attain that information, I have the ability to share it with my future generation. Because even though it is a challenge, it is my job to overcome that challenge. Now, how have I grown professionally? I've grown professionally mainly by my manners. I know it might seem insignificant, but my manners have greatly improved. I have learned how to properly give handshakes, how to communicate with people more effectively, at the same time leave out any inappropriate type of humor or something that's just not professional in the workplace. I've also improved my writing. My writing has gradually improved because I'm now able to write resumes. I could write a business letter, which has really helped me apply for certain jobs that particularly my family wouldn't be able to have any access. But also I've been able to build relationships. Building relationships is really critical for me, especially as a business student. But I have learned how to talk to people, so it doesn't have to be really close friends, but building those relationships are gonna help me later on in the future. And something important is also reading reports, because in life, in news, anywhere, we always obtain data, and being able to read reports has really helped me, so I can have a greater understanding of what the data is showing rather than just listening to commentaries that people have. Struggles that I've overcome mainly is fitting in. Usually, as during my childhood years, I was always moving because of certain particular personal life, but I've learned that having friends wasn't really a big deal for me, in which all I cared about was just not being home and having friends to hang out with. But fitting in was always a problem because every time I moved, I learned that every environment is different. There's always going to be different people who react differently, and especially different cultures. But I've learned how to communicate with people, to at least be able to relate to them one way or another. Another struggle that I overcome is money, because as a first generation student, everything that I have has to be earned. And with money, since I'm not working a full-time position, essentially over the year, I have to be very scarce with my money. So I've learned to manage my money in case I ever want something or it's an emergency. I will have the budget to put it in. And I've learned to be more outgoing, meaning more open-minded, and to learn to express myself more freely, because usually I don't like to express myself to other people, since I've always felt that sense of judgmental, or that people believe I don't belong here. But I learned to be more outgoing and at the same time not really care what people say about me, because for me it's more important for me to be myself rather than listening to people to who I should be. I feel like skills that I have gained through my mentorship were mainly communications, because communication is the biggest thing. Because if I cannot communicate to my mentee, then at the same time I will fail as a mentor because I'm not really teaching him. Same as being mentored myself, I learned about time management, because my mentor, and as being a mentor, I have to find a way to schedule correctly, or else if we do not have a proper schedule, then our relationship could fall apart very easily, since with the excuse of not being able to meet with each other. And if I were to name one word to my mentorship, I would say patience. I use patience because patience has taught me to be more open to my mentee. Because we have a mentee, we have nothing, we have really kind of no common interest. The only common thing we have is our major. But I've learned to be patient because although I am a mentor, I do not want him to be forcing things. Because me being patient or impatient was me telling him you should do steps 1, 2, and 3 and you'll be fine. And I learned that it's not the way to be a mentor. Rather, it was the opposite. Most of the time, I was the one just listening. I feel like I learned more from my mentee rather than I taught my mentee. So patience has been one of the biggest factors in this mentorship. So thank you for your time. Thank you, FirstGen.